So let's start. A very good morning to all of you. So basically today we are going to cover all these things in tracking part. So basically what we are going to do is when the planning is totally done, how do you actually start tracking the project progress? How do you raise issues with your project progress and assign it to the concerned stakeholder, and how to define user defined fields, like if there is something that you need but those fields are not available in P6, you can create your own fields with the help of user defined fields. And you can also do some changes if you want to make changes to the whole project, like you like to want to change the entire calendar for the whole project. You're not going to do it WBS by WBS or activity by activity. It will take a long time. So basically these are all tools which will help you minimize your maximize your productivity in P6. And basically reports, as you all know, reports is basically one of the most appreciated part of P6 because it's helping the management to take decisions moving forward. All right, so let's start with tracking project progress. All right, so what does tracking project progress mean? As I told you earlier, when the work execution begins, the next phase of project management is tracking progress. These details are usually called as actual. Some of the key elements of tracking are resolving critical issues. Basically, if the management wants to resolve critical issues with project progress, they need to track where the project is going on. If somebody needs to update the current information to each and every stakeholder, they again need to do tracking on the project. I mean, somebody needs to track the project in order to give up-to-date information to all the stakeholders. Identify risks moving forward. Basically all the risks that are associated with the project, like coronavirus is a risk. It's a big risk for the projects that we are doing. One of the main projects that we are doing in Hong Kong, basically it's delaying the project deliverables, and there are some procurements which are being delayed. So basically this is a risk which needs to be taken into consideration, and then you need to sit with all the stakeholders including your client and find out a solution on how are you going to manage delivering on all the key rates. So that improves your agility. Basically, when you know where you're leading, you can be agile because everybody knows what needs to be done in order to meet the deliverables. And basically it results in the overall improved decision making ability with up-to-date information. So in total, what does this actually lead to? It leads to improvement of the overall project management, and we can view the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture? Bigger picture is cash flow. So basically you understand whether your project that you're doing is a cash cow or it's just taking money out of your pocket. Basically this is done with the help of earned value analysis. As you all know, earned value analysis is basically something to do with your actual performance of the project compared to the planned value, which gives you several indexes in order to understand whether the project is performing as planned, its performance is below below the index requirement, or is it overperforming. There are some projects which will overperform, so we'll see all those things. Let's go one by one. So basically what's tracking methods for conducting earned value analysis are as follows. Work performance data. So what's work performance data? All your staff who is supporting you in controlling the project, like your construction manager, like your your field supervisors, your coordination managers, all these people who give data to the planner, to the controller, are basically giving you the plan value. When you do the planning, you take data from them. When so PV is the plan value. So up to a certain data date, when you say that they let's take an example. You started a particular project on 1st of January 2020, and today is 19th of April 2020. Now, whatever uh, value of the activities or whatever money is spent as per the plan, or the budget of or the budget which is spent during this 4 months period, is basically considered as your plan value, because that was already planned by you in the earlier phase, in the planning phase of the project. Actual cost, AC, is actual cost. So basically, what does actual cost mean? It means whatever you spent against that budget. Now it can be less, it can be more. Yeah, that's basically your actual cost. Now let's say due to coronavirus, you just got rid of all the site people, you send them home. So what's your cost? Your cost would be less than what you would have actually spent in this period of 4 months if coronavirus was not there. So that's your actual cost. And what's your earned value? So basically, there's a trick here in the earned value. What does earned value actually mean is your project performance. When you say you spent less, but you got more value than what you planned for, your earned value is more than the planned value, which is good for the project, because you spent less money and you got more results out of spending that less money. So your earned value is basically your value that you actually earned with a physical progress, spending the money that you actually spent. It will start to make sense to each and every one of you as we go forward, giving some examples. But this is data that we are getting by the supportive level. Now, what does a controller do? What does a project planner or a project manager do? He takes out the CV, SV, CPI, and SPI out of it. Now, what are all these terms? It's pretty simple. CV is cost variance. So whatever variance there is between the actual cost and the plan value is your cost variance. It can be positive, it can be negative, depending upon whether you spent more or less. Scheduled schedule value. So whatever you you planned for yours in your schedule, wherever your schedule was, has been reached or not, will define your schedule variance, right? What is CPI? It's basically the cost performance index. How are you performing with respect to the overall budget of the project that you plan for? And the schedule performance index is basically how your schedule, how your progress is moving as per the plan. So basically, let's say if you plan for getting 100 precast slabs or 100 precast beams ready in these 4 months, that's one of your activity that you wanted to do, and you are able to do only 50 of them because of this, someone on your side, he got infected with coronavirus, you had to shut down the site and you had to send everybody home. Now, of course, you are not spending money on people because you're sending them home, but at the same time there is a loss. What loss you're facing is in the schedule. Your schedule performance index is getting lowered because you were supposed to do 100, but you're able to do only 50% of that. So your SPI would directly be 0.5. And your CPI, basically, it should be less than 1, because you can send all the manpower home, but there is a management cost. There is a cost to run the site. And basically, you're spending that kind of money without getting any output. So your cost performance index would be somewhere around 0.7 to 0.8, depending upon how your cost is, how efficient you are able to manage your, to drop down your cost. That's basically done by the controlling level. Now, the the chieftains are not interested in your CV, SV, SCPI, SPI. That's only for the person who's controlling the project. Like it's for the project manager. But what would be the project director and the executive committee be interested in? They will be interested in BAC versus EAC, ETC, and VAC. Now, what is BAC? It's budget at completion. What is EAC? It's estimate at completion. ETC is basically estimate to complete. So basically, I'll explain all these terms in detail. They'll be, you'll get crystal clear idea out of what we are trying to do here. And I mean, ETC is basically your uh, estimate to complete. So basically what happens is, I would want Jala to just write these things down, and once he's able to do that, I will explain each and everything to you.
Sure,
Jala,
sure.
over to you.
Yeah. Let me give the access software.
Because this is really which needs to be explained properly.
Can you switch with the software?
Okay, let me switch to the software. I think I did not start the software today. Give me a moment. Give me a very, very short moment. Okay, how do I get rid of this? Okay, all good.
Just try.
Yep, yep, yep. Okay, over to you.
Yeah, Grish. Yes, you have very well explained that. Okay, guys. Yesterday, the same example. We are working on that, and we have added some set of activities and put some set of progress in that. So we have explained that whatever the blue colors you are indicating in that graph, it's showing the completed part, and whatever the remaining red ones you are indicating as a remaining part. So the real red line is showing the progress performance. So in that precast activity, we are getting a delay. Okay. So once you put the type of information in a, you can say, status option, status window, it will start to giving you a outcome. Means whatever the inputs we have did here, with the duration, with the man hours, and whatever the progress percentage by physically we have added, it will count, or it will considering this all the parameter to generating a data, information, and forecasting. So whatever the three things we have seen in a slide, like we have a data, information, and reports, it's completely, we can say, generated in a Primavera. There is no effort from our side. So here we have a set of columns we can visualize, and even we have even that set of columns in our slide. So whatever the full form you just have to go through, and whatever the useful parameter we have to go through. This is a tracking in which we are getting the information in a tabular format, and parallelly we are getting a S curve, or we can say on value curve in a Primavera. So let me show you how it looks in a software. See, once you go to the tracking, you will get a list of projects we are doing, and particularly we are selecting that project only. In that we are working right now. So mostly we are considering this some set of columns like finish date, means if we are getting a variance in finish date, like we are getting a delay in number of days, then it will show the finish date, but it will show only after completing the entire activities. So there is some columns are there. Then we have a schedule percentage complete and performance percentage complete. So what is the schedule performance complete means? As per the planning, whatever the days you spend in execution as actual, whatever we plan, and performance it will indicating that how we are doing as per the plan. Then already we have seen plan, actual, and on. Then we have two types of variance: post variance and variance. Then CPA, SPA. budget at completion, then we have a estimate to complete, estimate at completion, and VSA. So let me give you a clear picture of that. See, right now, if I say if I need this, right now we are watching this entire parameter at project level. If you feel that you need a column for individual activity, then again we have options from here. So we just get these on value parameters from here, and definitely we can visualize the individual cost variance of that activity, and we can say not visualizing variance, we're just taking a plan value, actual cost, and earn value. So it will give you a clear picture. So plan value is what actually we can say our cost we have planned for each and every activity. It will considering as a plan value, and then whatever the amount of money we have spent to complete that work is actual cost, and then whatever the performance we are getting by doing this thing as a physically percentage we are putting in that. So we can get some picture from here. See, here we are getting plan value for individual activity, then whatever the amount was spent to perform that activity, and definitely whatever is of see. Always we have a plan value is equal to earn value, means what you have planned that you have to achieve. So in that both activity, whatever we have plan value first, the same thing we are achieving in earn value, but we are making more effort to achieving that value. Like here we have a $1,600, and even we are getting our earn value as a $1,600, but we are spending a more money because of we are giving a more resources to complete. And in this current activity, uh, the plan value is 1520, but already we have spent to achieve that plan value already 1800 we have spent, and whatever the outcome we are getting as earned value is only 800. So it is at activity level only, but once you go to the project level, it will give you a clear picture. Means we have completed the duration of project as per the planning is 73.75%. So as per the planning, we have to achieve the 73.75% of performance also. But because of wasting our time and we can say making a delay in time and wasting more resources, our performance will we can say go down. Means it is generated by whatever the main hours, whatever the percentage completion, and whatever the duration we have inputted in the Primavera. So it's basically logical thing that. So what is on value actually? So up to till that we have completed the task. The plan value of the task are we can say is 4,720, and the cost we have spent to achieve that amount of task is already 7,000, and at least we have to achieve 4,720, but because of getting a delay or wasting more hours of resources, we are getting on value is only a 4,000. So what is actually on value? Performance percentage complete into whatever the budget we have, means total budget of the project. So here from here you can see total budget of the project is what? Budget at completion. So what is the BSC actually? BSC is a cumulative of plan value. Means from here you can find a total cost of budget will considering as a BSC. The full cost, we can say cost of budget. Let me add that parameter
Add
also.
that parameter. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, this all things is will be supported by Primavera only. You just have to analyze that numbers, and definitely we have to generate our prediction, and it will give the prediction. But we just have to take our decision to continue with the project. So the final result is given by the Primavera. It will we can say a forecast for your future, and gives helps to take a decision with the project to continue, and will terminate the project if we are not feasible to continue with the project. So let's see. Yeah. So again, the same thing you are getting, but it will showing you a we can say complete cost of the project, but it will showing you that number of cost we have performed, or we can say that number of activity we have performed till. Okay, so now you get a clear picture. Budgeted completion is what, or you can say budgeted total cost is what? Complete your plan value. So out of 640, so $640, we have performed 62%. So 62% of $6,400 is something you can calculate. It's a, you can add, okay, fine, let me add here. But see, basically these columns we are not going to see at activity level. It will not give you a clear picture, because once you go to the tracking,
Mm.
that will be a good thing to analyze, because once you go to the activity level, mostly we are focusing on that activity in which we are actually working, because the past is a past. We have to control the present and future. So whatever the mistakes you did in the past, we will not going to repeat in that. Okay, so definitely you can add the estimated completion also. But once we considering estimate to complete, it will going to definitely it will going to be part of your future. But for your understanding, we'll add that parameter also. We have an estimate to complete, or we can say estimate to estimated completion. So once you revise the plan, then definitely the whatever the budget you have planned, it will going to revise in the future, because what the things we have did, it will not going to control in that, but definitely what the things will be happen in the future, that will be fine. Yes, Sajan. So here, definitely you can say, so because of getting this, we can say because of getting the less on value than plan, our estimated estimation is increased, or it will increase in future, because right now we have a budget of 6,400. But now let me clear you each and every parameter. Means till that we are getting a plan, actual and earned value. It called it a work proposed data. Now Primavera will calculate it by itself, like whatever the formula behind that cost variance. On value minus actual cost. So 4,000 minus 7,000, you're getting a 3,000 of cost variance, schedule variance, on value minus plan value. So you're getting a 720 as a schedule variance. So schedule variance will only appear once you are working in activity. If there is no working or ongoing activity, it will make a zero. CPI, SPI, cost divided by on value, actual cost divided by on value, and schedule variance is actual. Sorry, my mistake. On value divided by actual cost, and schedule variance is plan value on value divided by plan value. So see, mostly controlling people are going to watch this amount, but the management will going to watch this ratio. Means they can easily identify if these both parameters are always the project is one means on the schedule, on the schedule, on the budget. But if you are getting a less than one, you can say over the budget and behind the schedule. If you are getting a greater than one, it will say under the budget and ahead the schedule. Okay, so once you getting a negative variance in both cost variance and schedule variance, definitely your estimation will increase. So now it will show you you have a budget and cost as a 6,400, but once as you progress in the future, definitely you have to spend more amount to complete the project. Means now your estimate at completion should be will be 10,400. And how much amount you have to remain to spend is definitely we can say 3,400. So how estimate at completion will we can say calculate whatever the actual cost we have spent and whatever the remaining cost we have to spend. The we can say the actual cost plus estimate to complete is again a estimated completion. And how estimate at completion will count? Definitely, we can say whatever the EAC we have ASC minus actual cost. The same thing, both are the vice versa. But the main thing we are getting is variance at completion. We can say BSC minus ESC. So we are getting a variance of 4,000 rupees. Means, sorry, not rupees, it's AUD. So we can say up to till that you are getting a loss of 4,000 AUD in that project. So again, you have to manage this 3,400 AUD to complete that remaining part of the project. So how you can manage it, that thing you have to decide. Means now we go through the S curve also. So in Primavera, uh, only a Primavera is a software which gives you a clear picture of S curve. So here we have a option of activity usage profile. The name of the window is activity usage profile, which generates the S curve. And there is some setting behind to producing S curve. You cannot get it directly. So I have did all the settings previously only. So here we are getting a clear picture. So mostly the S curve is, we can say, on value curve, and it is a combination of four lines we are getting here. So this blue line is blue line is indicating as a data date, till which date we have completed the project. So in central we have a plan line. So always plan is equal to on, means your planning line and your earning line should be a parallel. But here, because of getting schedule variance and wasting more resources to complete the project, we are getting, we can say, more resources we have spent or more effort we have spent on a project, but we are not getting that much of outcome as per the resource performed. So we are getting a less on value. So here we are getting a plan. To achieving this plan, we have spent this green line, it will say the actual cost. But the same thing, we are getting a less on value than plan. So it is a complete negative as per we can say. So till data date, the actual cost is the cost we have spent on project. But after data date, we can see there is a pinkish line. It will give you indication like that. If you achieve this plan value, or we can say if you achieve this green line, you have to spend the amount according to that estimated cost. Okay, so you can say this both line in amount. So we are definitely we're getting it here. So to achieving a project of $6,400, you have to spend $10,400 up to completing it. Means because of getting a lost in a cost, or we can say we have overrun the cost and we have wasted the time in a project because of resource performance and all other aspects, we are getting a variance in a performance. So this whole thing definitely guided by the Primavera only. And even you can identify a score on basis of main powers, or we can say use resource unit. So it will say like that. You have a, we can say, we have to just go through that. You have a, we can say, 160 or 170 man hours as per the planning. But to achieving that, that, that number of man hours, you have to spend more than 140 or 150 hours. Means to achieving a 170 man hours of effort, you have to make an effort of 150 hours on site. Okay, so you can present the score in a cost and even in a labors. Means you have to manage a more labor in the future if you want to complete the project properly. Okay, so this is a
Guys, I
concept
know
of
it's guys, I know it's very difficult to understand. It's very difficult to explain as well for us, because if anybody of you has got a clear idea of how earned value, this is a basically, this is basically a lot of theory involved. So basically what I'll do is I'll just summarize what Jhala said. I'll just
yeah,
summarize everything. So what happens is you run a project and you track it with the help of, you put the cost, you put the progress and everything. What Primavera does is, Primavera does that. Primavera says you were going to spend $100 for this particular activity as per the plan. To complete this particular activity, let's say 100 precast, $100. Very lame and very simple example. You are going to spend $100 on constructing 100 precast slabs or precast bricks or whatever, and you ended up, when you actually updated the progress after 3 months, you ended up constructing some 80 bricks or 80 slabs. You spent $140 for creating that 80 bricks, where you were supposed to do 100 bricks for $100. Now what happened is your actual value, just let me just give the just give me the cursor. I'll just explain it to them
Yeah,
with the help
sure.
of this example. So what will happen is, this is your earned value line. This magenta color is your earned value line. Instead of 100, uh, you just casted 80. So instead of 100, you casted 80. So the graph is going to be somewhere lower. And instead of spending 100 bucks, you spent 140 bucks. So the actual cost is increasing. So what Primavera does is it has got a feature to project the cost. Now it says, okay, now you were going to complete this in complete the entire project in 200, but but because of but because of overspending at the moment and your trend of overspending, you will be completing the project at 300. Now what the XCOM does, XCOM says, okay, what was the profit margin in the project? Okay, what did we quote the project for? The project was quoted for 280. Including our profits. So our profits and everything, it was quoted for 250, and we were making $50 of margin. But now we are already spending 300, and we are losing this 50 at the end of the project. So why should we continue this project? Does it make sense? Am I able to explain that to you correctly? I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
yeah, it's a clear picture.
It's clear. It's clear. I've already made S curve, so I understand.
You understand, right? So if you would be able to share something of your own in order to make other people understand a bit, can you
Okay, I can. Yes, but yeah, I will share it.
you can just share your example, your
S
experience.
curve.
Yeah,
Um, I can just give me a minute. Let me open my file.
yeah. You want to share your screen, you can share your screen.
Okay, just give me a minute. I'm opening.
Sure, sure, sure.
It's not much updated, and we have made it in simply in Excel.
Okay.
Where it is. Presentations. That's the latest.
Because it's crucial for everyone to understand this. This is the end result of what Primavera actually gives you.
You cannot share the screen while the other participant is sharing.
Okay, uh, I'll allow you to share screen. Allow. Okay, portion of screen. No, I think there is a problem. You will not be able to share the screen, I guess.
Okay, what
Yeah,
I'll do, I'll explain.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I had divided my project into different activities in different phases, like engineering, procurement, manufacturing, installation, commissioning, and handover.
Hmm.
Now I allocated some values to each of that activity,
Mm-hmm.
and when we check those or track the progress, like every 15 days,
Hmm.
we know if that activity is done, then we mark it. It is achieved, and the earned value becomes the whatever was planned for that. And also we get cost, what was spent to achieve that value. We get it from our internal team for commercial
Actual cost.
and actual cost.
Hmm.
And by putting all these things, planned value, whatever earned, and actual cost in a cumulative basis, I
Hmm.
get that S curve.
Right.
Yes.
So can you see that Primavera can be useful to you in generating, because you would be doing a lot of calculations in Excel, won't you be?
Exactly. And once I put those things in Primavera, I don't have to put it again and again.
Yep. And you can generate so many reports out of it.
Exactly.
Yes. So
Yeah.
basically in Excel, so like in Excel, because once you miss any parameter in Excel, then really there is a big deal you have to manage this entire input properly. So we can say to generate a S curve is only possible in a Primavera with a cost factor, because here we are getting a here we are getting a time factor, against we are getting a man hours, and even we are getting a costing of that project. So it will showing you a cumulative of the performance. So whatever the performance percentage complete you are getting with the individual activities, see,
Mm.
definitely for this whole activity we have already did 100%, but actually it should be a 73%, but we are getting only 62%. So
So that's
how
a
it calculates
variance.
percentage? There's, for that there is a big logic behind the software, but it will considering whatever the maneuver you have spent, whatever the physical percentage of performance you are putting, whatever the time you are taking. So it's a clear picture. We can say we don't have to think about the parameters, but it will generate the entire we can say result for us. We just have to look the result, and we have to take a decision. If we are spending we can say if we are going to spend $10,400 in that project to complete, then you just have to take a decision. Shall I continue with the project or I will terminate? If you have to continue with the project, then definitely you have to manage this remaining amount of cost, or we can say resources. Then only you can continue, because already you are getting the variance of 4,000. So it's already lost. Whatever the amount you have lost in a project, you will never cover it, because it's already spent. So you have to take a revision. In that situation we are revising the project, and that's why we need to create a new baseline once you revise the project. So whatever the action we are going to take in a revision, definitely there is a two things only. You can increase the time or you can increase the resources. There is nothing behind the logic. You just have to increase the duration. If you are getting delay, you just have to increase the resources. If your resource is not even feasible to make that much of, we can say, a performance. Okay, so whatever the amount you have spent in a project, it's already lost. So whatever the revision you are taking in a project means you have to initiate with the new resources and new duration. That's only the, we can say,
Forward path.
yeah, yeah.
You see, guys, Primavera is so dumb, isn't it? Yeah. Anyways, so let's go ahead with
Because yes, we can say in our earlier project, like definitely we can give the example of our test shutdown. See guys,
yes,
when you have a big picture of data, it is some is, for the 4 or 5 activity is not that much of clear. But once you go with the thousands of activity, like we have 5,000 activities, 6,000 activities, and we are managing it in our years of projects, so definitely you need a good backup of that. So only a Primavera can do it, because we are considering a duration and whatever the resources we have spent, and even the performance of the project we are spending here. So here we are getting this in a activity level, but once you do the tracking part, it will generating at WBS level and project level. So it will give you a clear picture. So what, from where you started, from where you now, and from where you have to go.
yep,
If you are feasible to managing this extra money or resources, then you are successful in a project. Otherwise, you have to take a decision to terminate the project. So Primavera will help you to continue or to not continue with the project, because while we're using Excel and all, we are not getting this clear picture, and even there is a no concept of backup, or we can say baseline. So you are not going to okay. Everything is possible to do with Excel, but not at that level. The Primavera will do. And definitely there is a security-based software, so there is a lots of thing in that to maintaining our data. And in Excel, if we make a single mistake, definitely it will write up our entire thing. And mostly we can generate the escrow on basis of cost, resources, and even a percentage completion. Okay, fine.
yep. Very well explained, Jala. Anybody has got any questions on that in this? Because we just need to make sure that this is clear before we move forward. Guys, come on. Ask us some questions.
I think those who have worked in execution and seen this scenario, as Azam explained, definitely they can understood very well.
Yeah.
And it is simply picture. You are getting the plan, and against whatever the plan you have performed and whatever you are on, accordingly that it will generating estimation, nothing else. Okay, so most important part is the tracking and a scope. Once you managing on value management, and these all things we have already learned while we are doing our uh, OPM subjects, engineering, and definitely as a part of CPM and all. So this all calculated by the Primavera only. You just have to go through and you just have to look out at that and say uh, performing. So it will give you a good picture.
Cool. Thanks, Jala. I'll continue explaining the other things, which is issues and thresholds. Uh, Basically, let's start with issues and thresholds. So basically, you've seen that there are so many teams in projects, like big size projects, over 50 million projects. There are so many departments, and there are so many people who need to be on the same platform, and not everybody understands. Uh, Understands progress importance, because they are lost into their day-to-day problems. So what Primavera does is, Primavera gives you some thresholds. It gives you some critical elements through which you can create some issues and email those issues to the concerned party. So basically, I'll just read it out for you. Issues are known problems within a project plan that require attention or corrective action. Issues are either manually created or automatically generated. You can associate these issues with work breakdown structure elements, activities, or resources. Threshold and issues go hand in hand. So basically, you can set some threshold limits on the parameters to assign. Sorry, just a moment. I'll just read it through. So it's project threshold value consists of parameters assigned to monitor project and generate issues. You can create threshold by selecting a parameter which will explain which we will explain through the software. Okay, so let's go to the software and generate some thresholds and some issues. Jala, over
Yeah,
to you.
yeah, please. Okay, one thing I have to add here. See, guys, Primavera, we can say definitely we need a team to operate the Primavera because everyone have a different role. Like those who are doing planning and we can say the revision of planning. Then we have a site control. Those who are putting the data as a part of we can say execution. And then after doing the project tracking, or we can say it is a part of project control. So once you're getting an on value and SCOW, the next decision you have to take, whatever the changes you have to do in planning that will impact your futuristic goal. So for project control, better project control, we have some other tools in the primary, like we have issue thresholds, then we have user-defined tools and global changes. And according to that revisions, we can produce a set of reports. So basically, once you're getting these all things in a Primavera, or while you're doing the execution in a Primavera, there is an option we can say issues and threshold, which will helps to identify the potential issues on the project. So issues like that we can say whatever the problems we are getting in performance and whatever the problems we are getting on a site level, like there is some physical issues, like we are getting some material loads, we are getting some machinery down. These all things will going to be part of physical issues, but mostly the threshold will use for generating the automated issues, like you can say whatever the regular performance we are doing in a project. So definitely there is some set of parameter we have to look out while you are doing the controlling. Means you can generate the threshold on that number of parameters. Like we can control the finish, we can identify the variance of the date or duration, we can identify the floats, we can identify the definitely cost variance. So let me show you a simple picture of that. See, here we have a threshold parameter for the cost variance. Basically, in that software, we are doing it manually. But while you are doing in EPPM version, we can set you can schedule the threshold. So in particular time, it will auto run and it will find out the set of issues throughout the day. So here we have to put the threshold. Like see, definitely while you are working on a project, there is some threshold limits to lower or upper limit. Like here I'm taking a simple value, means project should be always 0 0. I don't need any loss, I don't need any profit in a project. So here I'm putting only -1 as a lower threshold and +1 is upper threshold. Means I need a, is in a rupee, is in a AUD, means it's a currency basically. So after putting a threshold limit here, we are not getting any issue right now. But once you go through the threshold monitor tool, it will generate the set of issues according to that threshold I have given. Means whatever the number of lost, or whatever the we can say number of profit we are getting at that project. There is no profit in a project, but whatever the amount of money we are saving while doing execution, it's actually considering as a, we can say, part of the profit. But we can say, if you have very well planned, there is no chance of saving a money in a project. If you are if you are making some saving, or we can say profit in a project, so there is only two parameter: you are doing performance very well, or you are doing some, we can say, quality issues in a project, or to
cost
producing
cutting.
or less amount of money. Yeah. So once you monitor the threshold, it will generate the issues. Means as per my, we can say, as per my threshold limit, I have given that amount. So here we are getting a cost variance of each and every activity. So whatever the amount, we can say, whatever the more resources we want to spend on that activities, it will be generating as a cost variance. So guys, it will give you a help to identify the lost of, we can say, performance, or lost of, we can say, uh, amount of money in individual activity. Then we have a navigation issue. So definitely there is some, when there is any person who is working as a project control, they will monitor this entire thing. So you can go through the individual activity, or where this issue was occurred, and you can also find out the set of the details of the issue. So it will help to make the decision by individual activity also, or at project level also. Fine. So there is a some set of, you can say, there is a some set of threshold parameter which we can use to control the project. But definitely behind that there is a strong logics you have to use. Like we can also identify the schedule variance and cost variance, and we can say whatever the parameter we have in threshold, we can definitely, we can identify the variance, and it will guide you for making a corrective action. Why we need to use this threshold and all? Because definitely once we are running with so many activities, we cannot identify this problem individually. That's why you have to set this threshold, and it will generate the problems, or we can say it will identify the problems, and it will generate the issues for you. So you just have to look with the issues on which activity we have, we did the lost in a cost, and we did the delay and schedule. So it will directly come out with the issues, and then you have to manage the issue, whatever the corrective action you have to perform, you have to note here, for the future, and which activity and resources are engaged with with their particular issues. So definitely you have to solve it. But somewhere you can add a manual issue, like whatever the physical issue of getting us on site level, like there is some material lost, or we can say there is some physical damages with the machineries, or any external environment you are facing.
Let's create one issue with Hydra breakdown.
Breakdown. Okay, something I'm putting here. So we have to put the entire parameter, like on which date you identify this problem, what is the priority of that issue, and here we are getting the activity, in which activity basically this Hydra is
Is
there.
getting
So yeah, and whatever the resources engaged with that, definitely will put the machine or whatever the Hydra we have. So definitely while we are doing controlling, you can say issue navigator, so top management will get the information, right? Means it's happening at where. So it is for the top management definitely, so they can identify the potential issues, and definitely once you're not focusing on potential issue, and will not going to take a corrective action, it will affect with your project performance in coming future. So that's why we have to manage the issues day by day regularly to enhance the performance. And if we'll not do it, then definitely it will be impacting as a heavy risk of the project completion. And so there is a issue navigator tool is here. So we can use this threshold and issues for controlling the project. Fine. And then after we have two more options in a Primavera for corrective action, to performing a corrective action. here we are getting the issues. So again, we have to take a corrective action. So for that, if you need some extra column to producing, or we can say to presenting some prediction to the top management. So here we have a set of columns like we can say user defined. It's like Excel, we can create so many columns in a Primavera also. So it's again, we can say the whatever the features in Excel we can do in a Primavera also to to manage some external calculations. Let me just give a simple example. We're not going to mess up it. Let I need a one new column in activity level. Let me give the name of the column as a, for example, new cost. Just for your simple example, there is no any particular logic in that. But how it works, I'm just going to show you new cost. So I have to use this new cost to producing on, again I'm taking one of the another indication column we have. It's we called it a risk, or which producing a risk for the project. So here we have an indicator. Okay, how it looks. Let me show you. So now I'm just going to use these columns in my in my that project. So there is a user defined fields. You can use it. Actually, it's very useful for producing some corrective action, and if you have to add some extra thing in a Primavera to producing some new forecasting and all, so it will give you it will help to a top management to understood. So see, I'm not going to put information here manually, okay, or you can do if you have to do, but I'm using one another tool. It's called it a global changes. So as Giri explained very well, this tool will help to generate a one-click solution.
Yep.
Like we have a macros in a sorry, like we're using a macros or any formulation things in Excel. Same thing, we have some other parameters we can use. It's something like, you know, that if else condition we are using in Excel. So we have to generate the condition. According to that condition, it will generate, we have to generate the parameters corrective action. Here I'm getting a condition like wherever we are getting the cost variance in a Primavera, we need a new cost for that activity. Or we can say, just for example, I'm taking the speculative. Wherever I'm getting a cost variance is less than zero, I have to map some new
Greater
parameters
than
here.
zero, right?
No, we are considering as a negative. So that's
Okay,
why we are
negative
saying that.
only. Okay, I'm so sorry. That's my bad.
No worry, no worry, fine.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a new cost.
Mm.
So I'm just showing you how we will produce a calculative columns in a Primavera. There is no any logic behind it, but I'm just going to show you. If I say what is the new cost we have made this for activity, so whatever the budgeted total cost to we already had to complete. So we'll considering a budgeted total cost of the project. So it's definitely, guys, you need a good knowledge of this entire columns while you're working on that. So we all guys are very much, you can say, uh, hands-on. That's why we are getting it easily. Definitely, once you go through the practical, you will get a proper idea. Okay. So I'm getting a cost variance. So what the thing I have did, I have added the minus minus, so it will definitely add in a positive minus minus plus. That's why. And again, I have one another parameter, like I have a risk indicator. So you can use also some graphical universal thing, like if there is a cost variance, we can add as a red, and if
Okay.
we didn't get any cost variance in particular activity, we'll considering as a yellow, because maybe this activity uh, will
Big.
not started. That's why. So once you put that set of information in that changes, then you have to give the name of the changes. So whenever you're going to apply these changes with the project, it will generate a one report. It will indicating that these things are going to customize on a project. So I have selected the new column. So that's why there is no any we can say no any changes in our plan or anything, or you can do the changes in a project level also. So here we are getting some calculated amount of fields, and definitely we are getting this indication. The same thing I can do, like I have to change the calendar of the project, because it's needed. Once you revise the project, you have to pick up the duration of the project. So again, you have to need the changes in a calendar. So it is not feasible to do individually, as Girish said. So that's why we need this type of calculative column, which helps to identify the potential issues and use your corrective action. So guys, definitely we have already used it very well in our we can say entire practical life. That's why we are very much feasible to use this, and it will definitely help you very well while you are doing this corrective actions. So this is basically we have user different fields and we can say global changes, and then after we have two types of reports in a Primavera. So definitely there is a graphical reports we can say while you are presenting a S curve or whatever the Gantt chart and all. So once you go to the file, and there we have option of definitely the print preview. So from here you can produce any window of Primavera in a PDF form or in any form you have to present to the top management. But again, yeah, this is our basic format we are using actually. So we are working for the AHK. So already we have set some settings according to that because we have to produce some set of reports regularly. So definitely we are using their templates to produce their reports. So here we are putting a profile which shows you the S curve also in a
S
graph.
curve as well. Easy.
Yeah. Okay, so once you actually we have set it some time scale. That's why it looks that much of messy. But we cannot change it because we have already made some set of we can say customization with our software. So I'm just going to show you. We cannot change it right now for you because it's already set it for our parameters. But here we have option to producing a video from this. Definitely there is tools to do this video. So once you get a print out of that, you will get this entire file in a PDF and you can submit to the top management for your presentation or anything you can do. Fine, something like that. So it's a graphical report in a Primavera, and second we have a we can say tabular reports. It looks like we have a set of reports in Primavera, and definitely whenever we are deploying this software, we'll put that all number of we can say uh, templates of the reports. So whatever the number of possible templates or we can say reports we can create in a Primavera, definitely it will come with the software. So you just have to run the reports and it will generate the data, whatever the project we are working in behind. Like I have a earn value report. I just go through the earn value and just I have to right click and run this report. So till it was a we can say a template only. Once you run this report, it will generate the report until it is a template only. So once you preview whatever the project we have in backend, it will take out the entire information of the project, and even you can create a new report. So let me show you the few steps fastly just for your information. Like I'm putting a new report, we have a parameter, then you have to select the whatever the appropriate parameter to generate the report. I'm selecting activity only, and then whatever the column you have to create, we have to cover in a report. So like simply I'm taking the name of the activity and whatever the variation we have in that activity just for your knowledge. Then we have a on value. I'm just giving on value, or we can say post variance report I have to produce. Yeah. So after putting set of columns, next you have to use the report name, and once you finish it, and definitely if you have to put some we can say margin or header footer in that report, then you have to customize while you are doing the print review. So once you run it, it will generate the information which came from that project only. Okay. And then you have some setup. So these all things you have to do once you are mapping this entire formatting and all. So guys, actually there is some set of good reports in a Primavera we can use. Like we have issues we have created, then directly you can get the set of report for the issues. So the reporting of the Primavera is very good, and it will produce a very useful information to presenting to the top management, and it's very lined, we can say linear while you are presenting it. Okay, this whole thing we can do, and there is some features in our web version which can produce the website. Means if you have to we can say if you have to present a project as a website, so here we have some we can say options,
Publish.
but it's a very large to do and lengthy to manage. So just for knowledge, even we can present a project as a website. So you can upload this website in your hosting, and all people can go through that entire performance of the project. Okay, so that's the thing for the reports in Primavera.
But this works well with EPPM. Actually, it's very, very
Yeah, yeah,
basic with this thing, with your in-house or what perpetual license.
yeah,
Basically, if you purchase an EPPM solution, if your company which you're working for or you'll be working for in future, if they purchase an EPPM version, it will be a web-based, cloud-based version. So basically, you can create users. What you can do is basically the project controllers will have all the controls. The project manager will have only information to project performance. The person who is going to enter the data from the field, like the support staff, is going to have access to only those parts. Contract manager will have access to only claims from Primavera, so he won't be having access to other features. And basically it works very well as a in-house solution. And what happens is this entire Primavera EPPM version, it basically works with your SAP. So there is a software which connects both of them, and it is manufactured by, I mean, the software comes with Oracle EPPM, and it basically connects to your SAP ERP solution that you've got in your company, because most of the oil and gas, they use oil and gas companies use SAP as their ERP, and it connects very well with it. And yeah, basically that's all the features you can expect in a good PMIS tool. uh, that's what I think. Any of you guys have got questions? Because with this we are finishing Primavera. I mean, actually how to use the tool and what are the features of the tool, we are actually finishing all those things here.
That's clear, at least for me. I just
Thank
need to practice.
Yeah, I think you will need to do hands-on, because Jala is doing this from past 7 or 8 years. He has worked with
Uh,
Oracle before. I'm doing this from past, let's say, 7 or 8 years. Yes, of course, I have not only worked on Primavera. I've worked on all the PMS tools. I've worked on MSP. So basically, I'm having an engineering background, and I've worked with as a project controller most of my life. So and that's the reason we are able to control it properly. But as Arshia would say, she will have to practice it a lot in order to get her controls back on the tool, even though she knows it well. Even if you lose touch with this tool for 6 months, seventh month you are like, oh my god, what is where, and
yeah,
how to do this. And I mean, you lose control, you lose touch. If you lose touch, you will not have uh, you know uh, you will not understand the tool, and you will just most of the companies, they're not using, I mean, even if they are buying Primavera, they're not using it because it's a typical tool. A person needs to have hands on, and the person who's working on Primavera has to work on Primavera for 80% of his time or her time. So yes, from you guys, now
yeah.
it's an open forum.
Yes, Asya has one question. So, guys, as Girish explained, definitely we need a good team to control the project. And no, it's not like that you are single to working with the Primavera. Definitely, we need a team in that, because each and every member is working with a different we can say scenario. Some people are also working. Means we have a multiple user, so someone is using on project schedule. Someone will work on costing. Someone will work on project updation and control, and someone who works with the reporting part. So for the single set of, we can say, a small project you can do, but for the large project, whatever the projects we are doing right now, definitely we have to control our entire team to do it. Fine, and definitely there is always, we can say, uh, the entire credits go to the project manager, or we can say leading person. So here we can say Girish is doing a very well leading of that, and then only is it possible, because software is not a big deal to do, but whatever the we can say the management skill you have to control this entire project, and definitely you have to line up with the tool while doing our execution. That's the main we can say that's a big deal to do. Okay. So yes, Aisha. Actually, I have just created these columns as a dummy. So whatever the thing I have did, risk is the indicator column, means you can use some columns in a Primavera which indicates in some graphical way, but there is a universal law. There is only a red, green, and yellow option. You cannot customize it. So we just use it for indicating something that lost. And in new cost, what I have did, I just have calculated actual cost, means whatever the budgeting cost you have and whatever the amount you have lost on that activity, there is a cost variance. So what I have did, I just show you the formula. I just have we can say made the summation of budgeted total cost and cost variance. But cost variance is already negative, so I have used the minus parameter. So it will generate the obviously positive minus minus plus. So it will generating a new cost. Whatever the budgeting cost we have on this activity and whatever the cost we have did in activity. So just for an example, but for just for the clear concept picture with the global changes tool, I have this dummy example. So means you can do some cumulative or you can do some corrective action by using this we can say logical tool. And definitely for that you need a logical, or we can say you need a proper understanding of implementing a logic. So you have conditions. Once the condition is true, there is a true parameter, and we can say condition is false, there is a else parameter. So it's if else. If you did this in Excel, then definitely you have a clear picture of that. So if else is a conditional, or we can say conditional operation we can perform on any PMI tool. It comes with everywhere, like we have Excel also, like we have on Microsoft project also. But it comes with a good we can say a good corrective action with the Primavera. Okay, so it's something like that. Is it, is
Yep.
it clear? I just have tried to explain this tool. I didn't take any real example of that. I'm just showing. I just seen that how you can use it, but nothing else.
You can do a lot of things with that, Arshia. Basically, you can remove constraints from the whole project using
Yeah.
GC. You can change, uh, whatever you want to change globally. You can change the calendar
Okay.
if you want.
Let me give you one more example. Maybe you will get a clear picture. See, I have to do one more thing. Whatever the activities we have remained in planning or after doing execution, if management is taking a decision like that, guys, we have to pick up the duration, or we can say pick up the activities while doing execution. So we have decided like that. Right now we are following with we can say a calendar of 5 working days. But management said, guys, start to working in 724. Means anyhow we have to complete this activity in 2 to 3 days. In that situation, see, right now we have only one activity, but let's predict we have 500 activities. So you cannot change individually for each and every activity. That's why you need this global change, which helps you. So whatever the condition you have to put here, activity status is one of the parameter we can identify. We can use to identify that activity which not started it. So where activity status is equal to not started. So what I have to do with that activity, I just have to change the calendar. So it will definitely decrease the duration. Means first of all, you are working in 8 or 10 hours, but now I started to work for 24 hours. So definitely it will impact the, we can say, definitely it will impact on duration of the activity. So I have created this change, and I have to currently see you are getting this duration of the activity to 6 days. But once I apply these changes, it will show the reports. You have to go to the report, then you have to commit, and now you can see it happened. So it's changed. So you can complete this activity in 3 days only. So this type of corrective action you can perform while doing this execution. So see, think if you have a thousand activity here and you have to change the 1,000 activities calendar simultaneously on single click. So there is only option for that. So it will reduce the, we can say, rework, and it will help you to get out with some corrective action.
All
Yes,
right.
yes.
Yep. I think this is an open forum now. If anybody's got questions, you can ask.
No questions from my end.
Thanks, Azam. Thanks, Suleiman. I'm sorry, I just miss your uh, main name. So thank you for being there with us. Anybody else, if you've got questions, feel free to stay. Otherwise, um, it's a beautiful Sunday out there. You can leave and we'll catch up later.
Okay. So see you next week and have a good day. Bye bye.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the moment,
Not sure about the
yes.
next week.
Yeah, basically what is happening at the moment is this I mean, Primavera we've completed, but we know people are having doubts. They are having doubts day to day. There are so many things that they do and they are not able to understand. And what we want to do is the LinkedIn community that we are making is everybody would be posting their questions, whatever they've got, and we can post some answers. We can do some, you know, brainstorming together.
Okay.
And that's where we think there is value in creating a LinkedIn group wherein, you know, people are involved and they are participating, asking questions, giving answers and things like that. So that's what we are trying to create. And if there would be an instance that, you know, many of the people are having only one
Oh,
problem, which is you know, actually bothering everyone, what we can do is
mhm.
we can conduct a session, and
that
we
that
can,
will be good. That will
yeah,
be
and we
good.
can conduct a session and we can sort that out. Because, you know, now I don't think because we've already recorded all these sessions, I don't think there is any need to conduct the same session again and again, you know what I mean?
No, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll create topics which are
Mhm.
common to everyone. Everybody's facing issues, and we'll tackle those subjects one by one. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Azam. Thanks
Okay.
for
Thank you.
being with us.
Bye bye.
Uh, or who else we have today? Because I'm not able to see the today. It's weird. My screen. I'm not able to see any names of participants. So if you
Okay.
can come one by one. Anybody's left? Jala, are you able to see
Yeah,
participants?
yeah. I can just see it. I can just getting it from chat window.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm still there.
Okay. Hi,
Okay.
Arshia.
Hi.
Was there anything that you didn't understand or you want us to repeat or?
I'll go through your video again because I need
Definitely.
few things. It just went over my head, so I need to know that again. I mean, I need to see that again and then ask you questions.
Sure. Feel free. And I think you've joined the LinkedIn group as well.
Yes, I have.
And you can just post your questions there. You have my number. You can I mean, ask us questions on email if you want. But LinkedIn would be better. Why? Because everybody knows that this is a question raised by a person who has attended the training. And then if there are people who have similar queries but they are not coming forward, they can get it answered as well. You know what I mean? It becomes a common platform. It
Yes.
becomes as an FAQ, frequently asked question.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you
Uh,
so much. I just wanted to tell you and Jala, because you guys are doing such great work. Even if we pay money and get these classes like Primavera, they won't teach us with so much enthusiasm, so many examples, so much,
yeah.
like, not many people would do it, even if you pay them. But this is
Yes.
definitely, what you have taken it up as a, initiative, both of you, and you're doing it so well. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Words are like just, we just say thank you, but you guys are doing it.
All thanks to you. Actually, what happens, Arshia, we've seen a lot that people are paying a lot of money for these classes, and I
True.
don't think there is any value because the person who's teaching you is basically an IT guy who is not having any idea about how you're going to use this tool. He's just
Mm,
teaching you how to use the tool, and
mm. And
no, yeah.
you guys are teaching it with experience, actually, I think. That's why you're able to teach us much better than those people who teach us now, these companies.
Yeah. So
I
basically,
think my suggestion would be you guys can take up, professionally, like training classes for Primavera.
I'll tell you one thing, Arshia. Basically, we don't have any plans of doing that. We don't want to take it up as a professional thing. We don't want to make money from individuals. We are thinking we'll be making money from, you know, all these businesses who are doing, who are using this software. We are already making a lot of, we make a lot of money from them. So it's like, we can do something for people who want to learn. We do it for free for them. So I mean, basically, you can't ask money from people who are looking for a job or who are actually looking for something.
True.
That's
True.
my
Not
way of thinking.
many people will think the same lines that you guys are thinking. That's really good.
Yep. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for your
thank you for
appreciation.
that.